Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the City of Onkaparinga's Council meeting for the 16th of July, 2024. We have an apology from Councillor Greaves, but everyone else is here, and no leaves of absences. So let's stand and recite our pledge together. We recognise the city's considerable natural and cultural heritage, including thousands of years of traditional ownership by Ghana, and the more recent contribution from people either born here or who have migrated here. As we meet together, we build on this heritage by respecting and listening to each other, thinking clearly, being receptive to new ideas, speaking honestly, and deciding wisely for the current and future well-being of those we serve. Thanks, everyone. And we'll just move to confirm the minutes. I'm just checking, can we confirm these all in one set? Yes, yeah. We can, great. So do I have a mover? Councillor Themeliotis? Happy to move. Thank you. Councillor Bell? Just a second. Thank you. Any questions? Debate? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? The motion. All those against? The motion's carried. Thank you. The next is the Mayor's report, and I'm going to give a little presentation to go with this. I'm wondering we can pass the report afterwards or before? After. Do you want to? Let's do it after, because you might not like what I say. So just to, if I disappear and do go to some things, particularly conferences, to give a report back to the chamber. So I thought I'd take the opportunity tonight to report on two national meetings that I have been a part of, actually three. One is the Australian Coastal Councils Association, which held their national meeting in McLaren, Vale in late May, and then the National General Assembly of the Australian Local Government Association, which theme was Building and Community Trust, which was held in Canberra and followed by the Australian Council of Local Government, which was also held in Canberra. So I just want to thank you all for those opportunities to represent the city at both of those occasions, all of those occasions. And the Australian Coastal Councils Association national meeting was a really wonderful opportunity to demonstrate both our leadership nationally in this work, but I want to particularly thank tonight the staff who organised and supported the whole process, especially the wonderful bus tour, which is still being talked about around the country, and the helpful advice and support we got from Senior Burkert and Carl Winder Telfer was really highly valued. And you can see that the issues that came up that we want to address together as coastal councils across the whole nation is really kind of encapsulated in this idea of urgently developing a coordinated national response to coastal climate risk and all the hazards that go with that, not just in the climate area, but rising sea levels, the ongoing extreme events, and the widespread coastal erosion. So this set of recommendations and issues to be addressed is now circulating nationally, and we had a really important and useful contribution to make this year. Just to link our work in our Coastal Adaptation Action Plan is being again also circulating around the country, and people are finding it very helpful and useful, and we should be really proud of the work that the team have done here in the City of Onkaparinga. And just to link the Coastal Conference to the National General Assembly. So last year, those of you who were here last year may well recall that we took two items to the National Assembly for support from our peers around local councils from around the country. One of those was on coastal protection and rising sea levels. So that is a link back to the work we're already doing. And the second one was around addressing the legacy issues of aged care and home support, which I'm pleased to say we have also been advancing and supporting, and are now have handed over that work outside of our area. So just to remember that the things we do decide here have both a national and a local context. So we're at the National General Assembly, and if you can find myself and Councillor Bell there, we are there, and we're sitting with some very distinguished company as well. And it was terrific to have the support of another elected member with me, because they could, Councillor Bell could run around and do things while I was working in the room as well. And we were a full team, and I'm pleased to see and thank her for her contribution as well. So 65 South Australians were present in Canberra, which is quite a serious delegation. It's the most we've ever had, as I understand it, from all sorts of councils. And you can see how the shared agenda started to emerge through all the motions and a number of many conversations. And the things that are the three that I'm going to mention tonight around climate, housing and financial sustainability. We also were, all 65 of us were welcomed by the member for Adelaide, Steve Georgianis, who introduced us to Minister Catherine King, and also invited all South Australian members of Parliament to join them to meet us. And so we had Louise Miller-Frost from Boothby, Rebecca Sharkey from Mayo, Tony Passon from Barker, Tony Zappia from Macon, and Mark Butler from Hindmarsh in the room. So everyone was welcome, regardless of whether they were from the Senate or from the House of Representatives or whatever political party they were representing. So just to pick up on the climate piece, so many of you who are in the chamber will be very familiar with our work in climate action, and we are part of an international grouping around local governments working around the world for sustainability. And so Councillor Bell and myself were able to join in through the invitation of the Lord Mayor of Hobart, a side meeting with ICLEI, and many of the resources that they are sharing are resources for our staff and we can use ourselves. And we've got that little, I'll put the slide in at the bottom of a piece of land that you will all be familiar with and know well. And it was just, I put that in because the relationship between the coast, the urban environment, all the things that we're dealing with, erosion, sea level, cliffs falling down, cultural heritage, all seem to be present in that little piece of land, and they're all things we could bring. The other side meeting I attended was the Australian Local Government Women's Association breakfast. But generally we were busy over a few days with the regional forum, and so I'm going to pick up here the housing issues. I know not too long in the future we will be having a workshop on housing, and we have passed unanimously in this chamber our commitment to develop a housing strategy. So the KPMG have been commissioned to undertake some work in this field on behalf of a number of jurisdictions, but also on behalf of the ALGA. And one of the things that I thought came through really strongly was the role of local government and how we can bring some of these pieces together. And so whether that's integrating with the local community around people, place and services, fostering partnerships, helping people join up with each other. And we've already seen some examples of that with St Vincent de Paul and others in South Australia, in our area. Ways we can connect people through social procurement and service delivery, obviously around land use, helping to align what the community's expectations are with what we can actually deliver on the ground, and supporting collaborations. And so this other slide I thought I'd share with you as well, just helping to identify the different roles of each level of government has to offer. And as we begin to start thinking about what we might be doing in that space, I just thought that might be useful to all of you. And the third key item, which is really the number one, which is 1%. So financial sustainability for councils all around Australia is really, really tough. And it was a universal agreement to keep building the national advocacy agenda for getting 1% of the tax base in Australia being added to and shared with local councils. there's a bit of a debate going on about growing pie to the 1%, and also then how might that pie actually be shared more equitably. And we'll begin to talk about that as we move through in the next 12 months. But overall, I'd really like to pay respects to Councillor Scott, who's the councillor for the City of Sydney, who for the last 4 years has been in the leadership role at the ALGA and who's been absolutely tireless in bringing together this agenda around getting 1%. And more closer to home, someone who's looking at the equitable distribution is Simone Bailey, who is the Mid-Murray Mayor, and she's now writing to all the mayors in South Australia and talking to the LGA in South Australia about how we might get our fair share, not just of the 1%, but how that might be distributed. So we had 3 motions up for debate and deliberation, and they all passed without any interruption whatsoever, so I was really proud about that. There was a lot of competition for who would second our motions. So I think that shows that we're being well supported by our friends around, particularly in South Australia. And it was noted in the ALGA's president, Linda Scott, mentioned on Capringa a couple of times in her speech notes. And I think that goes well to show how we are regarded nationally and the contribution we are making at that level. We had a really good time. I'd like to sit at dinner with the Prime Minister, and I'd like to acknowledge the Honourable Melinda Rishworth for enabling that opportunity. And it was a really great opportunity to connect at the highest levels. It wasn't all, meeting. We did have some opportunities to connect and have fun with others, and you'll see in these photos mayors and councillors from Tetra Gully, Campbelltown, Charles Sturt, Victor Harbour, Adelaide Hills, Berry Barmera, Port Adelaide Enfield, Adelaide Plains, and in that long slide I'm talking to Mark Walsley, who's the Mayor of Adelaide Plains. He couldn't resist the opportunity of standing up at a lectern. He thought that'd be fun. We also met with as I said, the Lord Mayor from the City of Hobart, Mr. McLaren, and we also worked with the City of Adelaide delegate on a motion. So I just wanted to give you a quick update. I'm very happy to talk at length to anyone who wants to listen or ask questions about this. It was terrific to have our CEO with us as well, who I know also took many opportunities to catch up with his peers and work behind the scenes, as we all do in those circumstances. So thank you. So I'll put the motion. Councillor Platten.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to move as written and spoken, please.
Thank you. Councillor Themeliotis. Any questions? Councillor Bell, did you have a question?
I don't have a question, but I'd like just to add to what you said.
Go ahead.
If I may,
sure.
Indulge. Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to say how much it was how much of a wonderful event it was to attend. The conference in Canberra. It was certainly a privilege and honour to be there. It was an incredibly electrifying, if you like, networking event. You could see there was an incredible strong spirit of people wanting to work collaboratively, collectively for the many issues that were mentioned by our Mayor, in particular the 1% and the financial sustainability, but so too, of course, housing, climate, disaster resilience, because, of course, a lot of the councils that were there were still recovering from fires and floods or repeated floods. Energy transition was a big subject. I was given the task by the Mayor to actually engage with as many people as possible, and I was given a list. And thank God I was given a list, because the app that we were given broke down. So out of the 65 on this list, if you like, certainly half of those I did engage with directly from South Australia, as well as, of course, many others from states and territories, which was wonderful it was a wonderful event to be at. So thank you. And I should say again, as the Mayor has said, it was wonderful to hear Onga Paringa thought of very highly and mentioned in the auditorium. It was a real was a real highlight, and a number of people also came up to me when they saw I was wearing the tag saying Onkaparinga and specifically asked about our CEO, Fu, and spoke very highly of him. So, I just wanted you all to know it's something that I think we should all consider going to in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thanks, everyone. We're moving into, we don't have any presentations, but into deputations. And I'd like to invite Luke and Merrin up next. So Luke Talbot-Male and Merrin Ozols here from Fleurieu Peninsula Tourism. And while they're making their way here, I think it's since 2012 that Luke has been in that role, and I just want to take a moment to say thank you for that service, because I think you're coming to the end of your time. So you've got 8 minutes, and your time starts now.
How are you going, everyone? I think we've got a presentation up here. I'm Luke Talbot-Male, the Chair of Fleurieu Tourism. I've been on the board, as I said, 12 years, but also 3 years earlier, so a long time. And this is my last deputation in that time. It's been a real honour to represent the industry. We've got a clicker. There it is. Aging my time. Oh.
Right, Aaron. There we go.
Okay, about us. We're Fleurieu Peninsula is one of the 11 regions in South Australia, the tourism regions. We're existing here, I guess, as a conduit between local government and the South Australian Tourism Commission. We're trying to do marketing the region, getting more visitors, and also industry development is our main purpose. As I said, we're the conduit there, so we're funded by the 4 Fleurieu councils, Yankalilla, Onkaparinga, Alexandrine and Victor Harbour, and also by the South Australian Tourism Commission. Everything that comes through from that state and national level comes through our organisation and then feeds back through to the councils. There it is. All of our sort of, I guess our strategy is guided by the regional visitor strategy, which is coming to fruition in 2025. And we've been doing really well as a region. We've hit all of our targets well in advance, which has been really exciting. Now I'm going to pass you to Merrin with 6.5 minutes left to give an update of what we've been doing. Right.
Okay, perfect. Hi everyone, thanks for your time tonight. So we're just doing a quick recap on some of the initiatives and programs that we've delivered for the region and the Onkaparinga Council area over the last 12 months. So I've just provided a little snapshot here of some of the performance of the region in the tourism visitor economy space. So we're still leading as the #1 region for visitor expenditure, and we're nearly 300 million more in expenditure than any other region in SA over the last 12 months. So it's a great outcome. With that being said, there's still a lot of demand and growth potential for the region. So we're the #1 day trip market in SA. About 70% of our visitors are from SA. So that leaves a lot of potential to tap into interstate markets, international markets, and also convert those day trippers to overnights to encourage longer stays and more spend in the region. This is based on the Tourism Research Australia sort of data that we have, as well as the regional visitor strategy, which we sort of align with as well. A new initiative that we undertook last year was to work together with our local operators to kind of help our money go further and to help the operators' funding and money go further by using our strong marketing channels to do a cooperative or collaborative marketing campaign. And that was to disperse visitors, which is one of our priorities in alignment with the regional visitor strategy. We try to disperse visitors from the peak summer months throughout the year so that we can also help our businesses to sustain business during those winter off-peak months. So this year we did the off-peak campaign. We've had over 70 operators contribute and be a part of that campaign, and it's still in market at the moment. We've been able to invest $53,000 in digital ad placement, PR, and some other initiatives. We recently did a Hello SA campaign featuring the council area as well and a few select operators. And we've also produced 1,200 images, which was co-funded by us and the operators to help promote winter. So we noticed that a lot of our digital assets were seasonally focused and summer focused, and we're trying to showcase that winter is a beautiful and amazing time to visit the region as well, and just present that in a compelling way through our digital channels. As you can see, we do have a really strong digital presence. Our social media following is really high, so 33,500 Facebook followers, which continues to grow, 56,000 Instagram followers. And yeah, there's a few other bits and pieces there, but we do have a very engaged following. So I think our operators and the locals, instead of spending a couple of $100 themselves, see a lot of value in being able to give that to us so that we can help their money go further. Some of the feedback that we've had from operators in this region, for example, Never Never Distilling Co. have told us that this time last year, one of the events that they've promoted, Oyster Palooza, it's an off-peak seasonal event. That was about 5% of tickets sold at this time last year. And through working with us for the off-peak campaign, they've sold 65% of their tickets already. So it's looking really good. Yeah, we've had a few other bits and pieces of strong feedback. We did a campaign with Hello SA and featured Old Chaff Mill, beautiful, beautiful accommodation. And they told us within, I think, 24 hours of the segment going to air that they had 600 new Instagram followers. So yeah, it's providing value for a little investment for the operators to be able to work with us, and we work with council to make that happen, which is great. So in our industry capability and experience in supply development, we've been able to maintain a strong ADBRI presence, which is Australian Tourism Data Warehouse, and that's sort of the hub that anyone who wants to be in the sort of tourism channel needs to promote their listing on. So it's a free distribution channel for South Australians. Other states charge for it, but it is free for all South Australians, and our website and southaustralia.com, tourismaustralia.com, they're all housed with integration from ADBRI. So as long as businesses, and that's kind of the number one thing that we say is, if you're in tourism, make sure you've got an ADBRI. And so once you've got that listing, it automatically feeds through and integrates to over 150 websites. So that's where we add value. So we do workshops. We did one recently in McLaren, Vale, which had around 35 people at the visitor centre. And we got new operators or existing operators on there, or help them to update their ADBRI listing so they're representing themselves in the best way possible. We also work with businesses to provide letters of support or advice when they're considering applying for a grant or funding opportunities. And through workshops, site inspections and face-to-face appointments, as well as networking events. We've engaged with at least 350 operators across the region face-to-face in the last 12 months. And we've also had some great outcomes with tourism award recipients, #1 out of SA, so holding strong. And just a little bit further to add on to that sort of industry development initiatives that we've delivered in the Onkaparinga region. We funded a Fleurieu Food Festival photo shoot last year to help that sort of volunteer-led organisation be able to maintain momentum to promote the event going forward. We see it as a really critical event. It takes a month. It's a month of August. It drives awareness, promotion of our food and wine assets, as well as many other initiatives over that off-peak season. So it's a great opportunity for us to attract visitors and help businesses sort of maintain momentum in those off-peak months. There's a few other bits and pieces, and I've mentioned a few of those as well, so I might just speed over that one there. And I've just wanted to mention briefly a couple of our tourism industry events coming up. Some are by us or in collaboration with industry partners. So Experience Nature Tourism Fund is a grant for eligible businesses that remains open until mid or late August. Explore SA is a B2B trade event taking place in the region next week. We've got our industry forum, Fleurieu Forum, and anyone's welcome to come, where we hope to present some great learnings, workshops and insights, I guess, to the local businesses in late August. And there's a networking event in October with the Tourism Industry Council. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Merrin. Are we happy to take some questions?
Yeah, sure.
Do we have any questions? Councillor Wilkes. Thank you. Thank you so much for your presentation. It looks like you guys do some amazing work. I was just wondering, is it a fee for service? Do tourism operators have to pay? And if so?
We don't charge a fee for service. So that's why we tried a new model this year of a cooperative funding model where we charged a fee for a particular service. Well, it wasn't a fee. We were helping to help their dollars go further, but we really work with our local councils and visitor economy teams such as Jo and her team to understand where the priorities are and where we can provide support, but we don't charge a fee for service.
Perfect, thank you.
Any other questions? We might leave it at that. Thank you so much, and all the very best, Luke. How's the tech going? Right. Okay, next up, our next deputation is from Mark Ashenden and Lauren Fischer from the Clarendon Community Safety Group. If you'd like to make your way here, and I know Alida Carroll was listed on and is on the sick list, so she's not with us this evening. So please send her our best wishes for a speedy recovery. And I think, Mark, you're doing the talking. Is this true? Apparently. All right. Well, your time starts now. You've got 8 minutes, and we will take questions. And you've got your slide deck, I think. Do you need any help with that? You may need. Okay, we'll be on standby. Off you go.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to do this. Given that we've had a late call in, which is me, I thought that I would actually read to you the letter that I sent out to the community back in April, I reckon, which set the scene for what we can do about it rather than just make noise.
Mark, can I get you to speak into the microphone a little bit? Just pull it up a bit. It was done for shorter people like me. There you go. That's great. Thank you. Keep going.
Better? This reminds me of karaoke, 1923. Dick Harbour for those that were there. Road safety. We have all been shocked and confronted by the recent head-on collision in the main street. This incident has highlighted some very poor and dangerous driving in and around Clarendon. Speed, impatience, poor driving, and idiotic choices all contribute to the bad driver behaviour. This behaviour haunts the majority of good and sensible drivers who respect others and exhibit good driving behaviours. What can we do about this? Firstly, don't be silent or ask what someone else can do or should do about it. You can make the authorities aware of incidents of poor driver behaviour to the South Australian Police, Council, elected members, local members of Parliament, Department of Transport. It's important that we all escalate and voice the concerns beyond our residents' ears. We're all fully aware that the level of traffic through the town has increased significantly. We also accept that this level will continue to grow and there is little we can do about it. What we can do is set by example by good driving behaviour, and trust this helps other drivers to become a little more respectful. We hope by doing this that will remind people that the right to drive comes with the responsibility of caring for all road users. Please, if you care and are concerned, reach out and share your concerns as a resident, parent, traveller, commuter, educator, student, visitor, local worker or business owner. Tell the appropriate authorities. Together, we can make Clarendon a better place to live, learn, work and play. So don't just talk, let's also do. That was the catalyst for, here we go. A few of the citizens and our wonderful people in Clarendon actually owned the issue. I don't know how many phone calls I got in the week after the third accident in a fortnight of saying, what are you doing about it? And I can be mostly patient, but I do get very annoyed when people say, I want somebody else to do something. So this petition is an example of one of our local residents that just said, okay, I reckon let's just make a bit of noise. So let's talk about this. Most people would be familiar with Clarendon. At the edge of windy roads, skinny, there's a bridge that just fits 2 cars across it. And then all the impatient people from the Kangarilla area are in a hurry to try to get to work because they've left 5 minutes late. And so after they come off the bridge, they fly down the main street. And the volume of traffic is just to be expected, but bad behaviour is not good enough. So here's an example of just our main street. There's two main problems we've got. The feeder roads around the town are just as bad because they're skiddy. They're better to call some of those roads lanes, not roads. And the one that really is Potter Road, which we've got a school, the CFS, and everything's there. It's 70, allegedly. But as soon as you turn off the side of it, I've got impatient by getting across the bridge. They just turn right, go straight up and speed up Pollock Road. So there's just a number of things we possibly can do. Can we go to the next slide? Sorry. And again, we've just tried to picture, it's a little village and we can do something a bit better about it.
I think we find the fact that we've got such a straight road for a majority of it and being a 50k road and both sides being 70 and 80, that impatient drivers tend to use that 50-kilometre road that is the main section of our town as an overtaking lane. And unfortunately, we also don't have any, I guess, appropriate spaces for people to cross at the pub, at the bakery, and also at for the school children as well. What our petition was not only to talk about the road safety and the accidents, but it's what can we do to fix this, whether or not it would be traffic, island traffic, pedestrian islands, a fixed speed camera, as a lot of people do speed through that 50 zone, potentially going 70 and 80 Ks in that 50 zone with children very close to the road. We got over 100 signatures, which you've been given, as well as letters from both the Royal Oak pub that have had numerous incidents and car accidents in and around their space in the last 6 months, as well as letter of support from the school also. I guess what we're asking is, we realise that the main road is Department for Transport, DIT's responsibility. However, those side roads are council. So we're just, I guess, trying to find a way that we can, I guess, mitigate from anything serious and adverse from happening. So I guess this is where we're coming to you guys with our presentation and our letters and signatures of support.
And the other piece is there is that, we haven't got all the answers. And I'm sure that nobody in this room has got all the answers, but collectively, the deputy and the councils, the road people, just the police, just everybody's got to have, geez, if you get one good idea from everybody, it'll make a difference. It's warned about that now. But the recent example of this is a petition to try to get broader support and interest and ideas. And the other piece that's come out of this is it an AED? What's the heart starter thing? Anyway, one of our, at the last accident, there was a head-on collision and people were severely injured. And the thought of putting an AED in somewhere that we could actually use it. Sorry. Oh, yeah, thank you. But that's another example of what it is. And so what we did is we had a community meeting, we discussed about the idea. We've actually got qualified nurses and people in the main street that are actually attended first responders on the site. And one of the pickup ideas was, gee, if we had one of these close in the main street, we could have and might have been able to use this. It might have saved one person's life. And another initiative that's out of my bag, if you like, for the community was one of those is about to be installed in a church next door. And that's when you start to find out different bureaucratic processes, if you like. You can't get any grant or any support unless you own the premises. So we had to go and find someone that owned the premises. The church volunteered, and we'll be putting that up in the next month to actually, we'll fund it ourselves and then go out and see if we can get some grant support. But it's another initiative that's come out of what can we do about it? That's another example. And so we're really here just to say, give us some ideas, give us some help, take it forward.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your presentation. And I'm going to open it up to questions. Now, Councillor Eaton, are you happy to take questions?
Thank you for your presentation. Look, it is important to ensure that SAPOL are advised of that sort of behaviour, driving behaviour. It goes further than the township, unfortunately, with the 70-kilometre
hour. Yes, thank you. Have you got a question?
Yeah, I've got a question.
Off you go.
But I'm
Can you
trying
just
to set,
frame it as a
I'm
question?
trying to set the scene.
Can you frame it as a question?
Yeah, okay.
Thank
Where
you.
would you, if we looked at speed cameras, where would you place them?
Probably just short of the hotel, because there's a sweeping bend.
Yep.
So they come down across the bridge and then you sort of accelerate past the op shop, the bakery. And then there's another bend that goes around there. If you've got to do something, you need to have some sort of warning or alert there, because once they get, it really is a pretty well blind turn. So before they've gained some really serious speed.
We have
Okay.
found having police presence around near the general store, between the general store and the bakery, tends
Yes.
to slow people down, as they do tend to go down quite fast down the hill. We also find trucks being a massive issue of late as well.
Okay, thank you.
I've got a little docket here.
Just on the trucks, my question is, I know like in some of our other hills towns, the main roads are part of truck routes. Is that the case for your main road? Do you know?
It has increased, Moira.
Yeah.
I'm a bit unsure. I was only just speaking to Priya about it last night, actually.
Okay.
I know it's becoming more of a thoroughfare, being the fact that Meadows and Kangarilla both have quite extensive housing estates coming up.
Yes.
And that bridge is the only access
Yes.
between there and down towards Vale. So
That's right, yeah.
Why drive 45 minutes when you can actually
Sneak
speed
across.
it too quick?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Councillor Bell.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you both for your deputation. I'm one of those Kangarilla residents that you mentioned, but I can reassure you I don't speed through. But at least twice in the last 2 weeks, I've had people overtake me as I'm coming through Clarendon. So that's certainly a personal experience, and that happens often, not once. But my question is, with the community engaged as they are, what sorts of things have they been talking about that they view would help other than the speed camera?
We have talked about, as we said, pedestrian crossings around near the pub or end parts or up the top end as well as the bottom end, or at least putting in some pedestrian islands to stop people from being able to overtake. If you have something in the middle, no one can do that. There was talk about speed bumps. There was talk about at the time when the horrific car accident recently, there was a lot more police presence, which has been wonderful. However, that's had to be backed off. But we have tried many other ideas. Again, it's not our expertise, so we're just
Yes.
like support.
Is there, how many 50 signs are there, do you think, within the street?
There is a few,
Two at each.
two at each.
Two at each end. There's one before the church, but going one way.
Yeah,
But the other way, I don't think there is. Is that right?
there's two in each side. of
At
the-
either end, yes. But in the middle,
Yeah.
I think there's only one by the church going one way that you see, but the other way, I don't think there is one. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
And, sorry, another, fake flash cameras, talk about flags and that sort of stuff, but we don't want to make it gaudy as well.
Yeah.
So there's just different ideas.
We did even consider renting one of those wonderful signs that give you the smile or the frown, and because I find that's quite a really good behavioural way of changing people and showing people people's speed limits, because sometimes people just don't realise.
And we want surprise, not shock.
Yeah.
Councillor Platten, you've got a question?
Thank you very much. Thank you for your presentation. No, you're fine. It's all written there. You spoke about that this is a Department of Transport road. Have you been to your local member for state government and spoken to them?
I can't speak myself, but Anita has been leading all of this, and unfortunately she's unwell.
Yeah.
But I do believe she has been.
Yeah, we've done state, federal as well, including a senator who's now got an office in there, who's known as Taxman, which I'll get politically slapped about it, but we've
You can clarify that you have been talking to members of parliament.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Councillor Fischer.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your presentation. I'm sorry, I missed that.
Go ahead, Councillor Fischer.
Yeah, so my question was based on what Councillor Platten said. You show your advocacy to your local members. I mean, it's quite obvious that the main street is a state government problem. And certainly your local members of council can assist in the advocacy of improvements, but you've got to make that first step. You've got to take that first step and actually impress upon them how important this is.
Thank you.
T is our that side, if you like. I've met with Josh on a couple of occasions, and he's very much aware of the issue, and was also until Parliament didn't happen, he was actually an attendee at our community meetings as well. So he is across it, and he's waiting for an update for what we would like him to do in any way, shape, or form. I guess this is part of what we're all about. There's got to be other avenues.
Yes, thank you. And I can assure you that we'll be catching up with the member for Hyson in our advocacy, so it'll be really helpful. We'll be able to say that we've heard directly from the community in Clarendon about that. Are there any further questions? Thank you for coming, and we appreciate all the effort you're putting into making this issue visible to us. And for the work, please pass on our thanks to the people who organised the petition as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Now, for those following, we are now on page 19. This is the section of the meeting regarding presentation of committee chairs' reports, and we have the Southern Region Waste Resource Authority report. Councillor Pritchard, are you moving that motion?
I'd like to move the motion, please.
Do you wish to speak?
Just quickly, thank you. So this SWARA report covers two meetings, two pretty important meetings for the year. The first meeting covered the budget review 3 section. I guess some good news out of that is that the budget position for the year ended up increasing to $2 million of profit, originally budgeted for $600,000. Couple of points to note there. We're quite reliant on our commercial operator for pricing for our results in terms of that. So that's always not sort of not consistent. And so for the annual business plan for the year coming ahead, we've also gone conservative with that number. But we did have some sort of staffing issues in the last 12 months, which meant that there's been a little bit of a delay in some of the projects. So while that's contributed to a better result, it has pushed a few of the projects out. And so then in the annual business plan for the year coming ahead, we've got the eco park planning, which I know we're very keen to see from this council's point of view progress. Well, that's been delayed a little bit because of those staffing issues. So hopefully we can go forward with that. We've also had to delay the planning and the installation of the next landfill cell. That hasn't got an impact at the moment, but at any rate, hopefully the costs don't go up with that one. We're also putting in a second independent member to the board of SWARA, which was approved earlier in the year. See, they were doing some interesting things with their electricity contract. So we've had a few different reports that have come through in the SWARA board around how they can provide a lot better electricity security. And so they've progressed quite a few things. So that's really exciting because I'm hopeful that we can take some of those learnings and apply them to council going forward. And just lastly, that the proposed position for the upcoming financial year is a $600,000 surplus plus a subsidy to the council with regards to recycling on each of the tonnages. Thanks.
Thanks, Councillor. Councillor Eaton.
I'll just second that.
Something not right here, sorry. Councillor Pritchard, would you mind turning your microphone off? There we go, that works.
Yeah, I'm just seconding it, wasn't so.
Yeah. No questions. Councillor Bell, did you wish to ask a question?
Thank you. Yes, I'd like to ask a question of staff. I'm just really interested if they're able to answer a question. On page 23, there's mention of the LMS Energy Innovation. I was just interested to hear more about the possible trials that they're undertaking. There's reference to the investigating organic processing, anaerobic digestion, etc. So I just wondered if you can elaborate on that or not, or is it too soon?
You could take it on notice if you want. Okay, do that. I'll ask the officer to take that on notice. That's okay, and we'll bring back the question. Really great question. Any further questions? Debate? Councillor Pritchard, do you want to close debate? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Councillor Wiltshire, you do need to vote. All those in favour? Against? Thank you, carried unanimously. And I just want to say thank you very much to Councillor Pritchard for always giving us an insight to what's going on, and to Kurt Richardson as well. It's really fabulous work that we can all share in the learnings as well as the productivity that's going on there. We're now into section 9, which is a series of reports, 9 to 913, one. The first is the final report for revocation and disposal of land adjacent to 37 Cameron Road, Aldinga Beach. Do I have a mover? Councillor Platten.
I'm happy to move as written.
Do you wish to speak to the motion?
Just to say very shortly that I have a commitment to revocating land that is in surplus, and so I think it's very important that we stick to that, especially when clearly this is not something that we can use.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Eaton?
Yes, I'll second. Nothing to say.
Thank you so much. Any questions? Debate? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Well, that's fantastic. Unanimously. Can we put that in there? Carried unanimously, should anyone not be sure. 9.2 CAT management review. Councillor Bell.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to start with a few questions, if I may, at the start.
Certainly. Do you wish to move them, or are you asking questions?
Questions first. Can I do that?
Thank you.
Is that right? Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to ask, given the amendment bill that seems to have come as a surprise to staff, I just wondered if that can be confirmed on the 10th of this month. What's their view on moving forward for a survey and the pros and cons, if you like, please, if they're able to.
Yeah,
thank you. Through the chair. Yes, look, this amendment bill titled CAT Management did come as a complete surprise to us, and it arrived just before this report was finalised and put on the agenda, and that's what's led to the proposed alternative recommendation that exists here. The key reasons for that are that there will be some challenges consulting on our survey or proposed survey at the same time that the state government is consulting on CATs, but a very different aspect of CAT management. And also as we unpick and understand the amendment bill, which we'll be sharing with members on the 23rd of July by way of a workshop, we may well want to review or reflect on the questions that are in our own draft survey. So for those reasons, we've put that option in there for the chamber tonight.
Do you have further question?
Thank you. One question, and our CEO might be able to confirm this as well, I suppose. When is the first rates going out, and would a survey going out by us at the same time be an issue, do you think?
Thank you, Councillor Bell. We're anticipating the rates notices to go out next week. So that out in the community. We've deliberately put in this option 2 there, just given the timing of the legislation that's gone out for consultation. We want to make sure this is, a productive survey and that there are clear views expressed by the community. So certainly that's why we put that there. We hadn't sort of linked it with the rates notice, but certainly there'll be a lot of consideration around the rates notices and other things that will go out from council next week.
Thank you. No further questions, but I would like to move point 2. Which is that we consider deferring the engagement based on, as reported, that the South Australian Amendment Bill has come earlier than expected, and came as a surprise. And that survey for the bill closes on the 3rd of September. I completed it this morning and highly recommend others doing that. I think in view of all of this happening, I think it's probably a good idea if we do defer, because I'm concerned that with the rates notice coming out, it may confuse people. It may confuse people that they're having to do the South Australian one at the same time as ours. So that's a concern for me. I think it'll give us more flexibility, and there's benefits to waiting because we've got the workshop that's coming that may allow us to review this bill that's being put out, and also an ability for us to review the questions that the staff have done such a good job of putting together. I wanted to congratulate the staff and thank you for doing that work. But I think on the view at this stage that I would support point 2 in deferring it for the moment. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Eaton.
Yes, I'm seconding it, and I'm certainly supportive of putting off our survey. I think it's going to confuse things. We'll be better informed, and certainly I'd support it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Themeliotis.
Thank you. I'd just like to debate.
Go ahead.
I'm going to be debating against this motion for a couple of reasons. I actually don't think there will be any confusion with our community whatsoever. Our community has been waiting for a very, very long time to have this conversation. And I feel like kicking the can down the road isn't really good enough, because people are willing to have this conversation. And we're actually putting out questions that aren't in what the state government is asking. We're actually putting out questions that won't only just identify information that we don't have complete facts on, so we'll be better aware of cats in the city of Onkaparinga. We're actually asking the questions that our residents want to answer, whereas the state government survey, this is the mark on a number of questions. I hope elected members would see fit that we go out and ask these questions and put them to our community. It will give us a greater understanding of our council, how many cats there are, how many cats that are unregistered. It will give us a greater understanding of what some of the nuisances that we're hearing from our community. It might even cement that we're hearing is either correct or incorrect. It would give us the basis to write submissions to government. It would give us the basis to contact our local MPs as well. I happen to have a local MP in my area who's quite passionate in this space and would like to see these questions asked as well. Elected members, I don't think there's any right or wrong time. Like, you can find any reason to not do something because of timing, but I actually think the timing is right. And our residents have been waiting for this. So I hope that you would see fit that we ask these questions. None of these questions, I don't think any of these questions will really change if it was a couple of months down the track. We would still be asking the questions around what you're experiencing from unwanted cats, questions around numbers of cats at properties, questions around if you have a cat, if you don't have a cat, is the cat registered, is it unregistered? We're still going to be asking the same sorts of questions. So I don't think many of the questions will really change waiting any longer. So elected members, I hope that you won't support this motion and continue on with engaging on our community on this issue.
Are there any further speakers, questions? Councillor Bell, do you wish to close argument? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? All those against? You certainly can. So all those in favour, if you'd like to stand. And we have Wilkes, Jew, Fischer, Bell, Yeomans, Pritchard, Davis, Eaton, Stafford and Platten. All those against, thank you. Would you please stand? Themeliotis. Thank you. And now we're into that motion is carried. Thank you. Item 9.3, dog on leash and prohibited area review. Councillor Platten.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move the following recommendations, if I can. 1, all of 2, and not 3.
So let's just get that up on the screen so everyone's aware. So it's 1 and 2.
Yes.
1 and 2. Go ahead. Do you want to speak to that?
Yes, please. So throughout the consultation process, I have been contacted by numerous people who live in the Port Noarlunga region, and not necessarily living in Port Noarlunga, who have made it abundantly clear to me that banning them from walking their dogs on this portion of beach in Port Noarlunga is not acceptable. The reason that they felt it's not acceptable is that some of them move to the area, some of them drive to the area. I know a lot of them personally as ex-customers of mine who would specifically walk their dogs prior to the cut-off times. Now, this area currently has a cut-off time in daylight saving between 10 and 8. And I think that the notion that we would change that to 24 hours a day is a little bit too much for this community to take. They're very happy with what is in place at the moment, and I think it would be remiss not to listen. The community consultation has come back with 63% of people not in support, and so I'll be heavily siding on that side. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Fischer, question or debate or a seconding?
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I have a question first.
You go ahead.
So I agree with Councillor Platten in relation to moving part 3. Where did it come from? I mean, community consultation, 63% were against it, and yet we've put it up there as a document for consideration.
I'll just check with someone to answer that. Thank you.
Yes, so through the chair, this request originally came up when we consulted on the draft bylaw, and we've included it as an option for the chamber. And in fact, in the discussion, we've said, look, you can go either way. There are merits to making the change, but clearly the majority of people who responded to the survey don't support the change.
Councillor Wilkes. Question or debate?
Well, I was hoping to second it, but I was a bit slow on the buzzer. I'm going to put my 2 cents in because I've had so many phone calls just about the 3 in my ward. So I promised the people that I spoke to that I would get up and speak of their support. So the Christie's Beach locals, there was a gentleman who took it upon himself to write the petition, which we've already tabled here, but he went down there every day for about 3 weeks and met all the dog walkers and was welcomed with people who were so happy to sign his petition. So I told him, yes, I will get up and I will have your say for your voice tonight. And then lots of other phone calls came through about this. So really happy that Christie's Beach was taken off this list. The market site, I attend there frequently, and they also said a lovely old lady who has a service dog, so yes, she's allowed to bring it currently, said that she really enjoys taking her dog there and it's a great social outing, but lots of people said they leave their dogs at home because at the moment it is currently a prohibited area, so they're very happy to see it there. But mainly I wanted to also speak about the Port Noarlunga one because I think it would have been a really great opportunity, obviously not on that side because the community is against it, but to have an area on the beach that is dog free, because we do in a matter of like to show equality to our community to be able to go down to the beach. I have some residents who came to me and their kids range from autism and they have ADHD and they're actually really frightened of dogs. So they were really excited to see that section of beach be excluded only because it was a section of beach that was going to be excluded, not that particular area. So I'd really love just to put it out there that if we could think of another space on the beach of our 31 beautiful kilometres of coastline, I think that would be well received by the by the community as well, but maybe definitely not in that spot. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Any further questions? Debate? Councillor Platten, would you like to close debate?
So I just obviously very opposed to number 3, but I just also wanted to make mention of my support for the recommendations that we have put up tonight, or I have put up tonight. I think it's really important to note the damage that dogs can do to wildlife, and certainly the listed areas there, wetlands, reserves, and bushland. Making dogs on leash, you're not restricting them from going there, but putting them on leash is a perfectly reasonable idea. So I hope you support.
Thank you. I'll put the motion as in front of us. 1, 2, all those sections. All those in favour? All those against? The motion is carried. You're calling a division? All those in favour, please stand. Those four are Councillor Platten, Stafford, Eaton, Davis, Pritchard, Yeomans, Bell, Fischer, Dew, Wilkes. All those against? Councillor Themeliotis, the motion's carried. Item 9.4, Advocacy Plan. Councillor Dew.
I'd like to move this motion. Actually, I'd just like to make one small adjustment to it.
Conflict of interest. Sorry, I do apologise. You did let me know that. Would you like to speak to that? Could I just ask Councillor Dew? Yeah, sure. Councillor Themeliotis, apologies.
I have a general conflict of interest because my employer is named in the report. I do not have, there's no financial benefit or detriment for me remaining in the chamber and voting and debating on this matter. Thank you.
And my sincere apologies because I should have noted that. Councillor Dew.
I'd just like to adjust the motion to say approves the first iteration of the advocacy agenda. And I'd like to remove it as written, please.
Do you wish to speak to the motion?
Just a couple of things. One is thank you to staff for compiling this. It really leaves us in a great position to now be at the forefront of discussions to ensure that we get the best outcomes we can with the elections coming up, but also knowing really where our priorities are for the next year. Including the first iteration, the inclusion that I made, it's really to demonstrate and highlight that it's a live document, and as more information comes to hand, or we see a priority that we didn't necessarily foresee now, it can be included. The two areas that I think I'd love for more exploration to occur is around economic development and tourism opportunities. I felt that they were quite light on. And I guess, again, allowing this to be a live document will allow us to do more thinking and be responsive to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Wilkes, question, or are you seconding the motion?
I'd like to second it, please.
And do you wish to speak?
Yes, please, I will.
Okay, excellent, perfect. So I also appreciate the efforts and the considerations of the EM's ideas in this advocacy plan. We've had a couple of EMs over it, so it's great to see that. I'm really happy to see how it's been separated into policy and priorities and the supplementary projects. I'm very keen to see the policy side of this advocated, especially how you brought it up, Mayor, that it was a hot topic at the local General Assembly. I hope I got my reading right. The 1%. Federal funding, I really think that's really important, and that being an election promise that wasn't fulfilled this year, I think that's one that we really need to be pushing. And I also had a question, if I may, just about, you mentioned about the immunisation, how we had that, the immunisation getting matched funding, like how pharmacies get it. I was wondering, that's not in our advocacy plan, so is that something that I missed or
something we can add?
Yes.
That's the question. Is that something we can add? Yep.
Through the chair, yes, we can. So it is, so through the mayor, not the chair. So the, yes, that item is on sort of the long advocacy list, but wasn't one that sort of got the vote and everything to come into this list here. So yes, it can be added for sure.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Eaton, did you have a question? Or
I'm certainly supportive of it. It's a living document. And tonight's a perfect example of where we've actually seen a major road safety issue affecting one community, and clearly that needs to be included in it. So we're going to find, as time goes on, there will be pieces that need to be added to it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further questions? Councillor Dew, would you like to close debate? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? All those against? Motion's carried. Thank you. And yes, thank you to the staff. And it is very alive document, that is for sure. 9.5. So those of you who are following online, it is page 399. This is the draft Community Vision 2034. And we are now at the point where we want to have it made available for community consultation. And do I have a mover for this item? Councillor Pritchard.
I'm happy to move, A, thank you, as written.
Hey, yep.
Yep.
And do you wish to speak?
I just think I think we had a great session the other night, and I think it looks really, really good. So I think everyone should be congratulated on what's been produced.
Thank you. Councillor Bell.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I'd like to second and just to say congratulations to all of us that participated, the staff and the elected members and the CEO and the Mayor, everyone. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Furious agreement. What a lovely thing. All those in, sorry, Councillor Pritchard, did you use to close? You're good. All right. All those in favour? All those against? The motion's carried unanimously. And I look forward to hearing from the community as we go and listen in. And thank you everyone for getting us to this point to help set our future for the next decade. This is item 9.6, the Australian Coastal Councils Association. This is the communique from the meeting that I referred to earlier. Councillor Wilkes.
Yes, I'd like to move it, please. As you
speak to it.
I will speak very briefly because thank you. I had the pleasure of going to the Australian Coastal Councils Association's function. It was very well run. Onkaparinga was an absolute standout, so everyone in this room should be very proud of the team and the staff who outdid themselves. The bus tour, as the Mayor said, was an absolute highlight, but there was also a range of key speakers from all around Australia who had so much wealth and knowledge. It was just such a day to really immerse yourself, or sorry, such a great 3 days to immerse yourself into and really get a taste of where the coastal space is leading. I have to do a shout out to the McLaren Vale Centre, the Function Centre. They were outstanding. The lovely people who just outdid themselves. So yeah, a great time all round, and yeah, it was really honoured to be a representative there for Onkaparinga. So thank you.
And do I have a seconder? Councillor Bell.
Sure, I'll second it.
Would you like to speak?
And I just wanted to highlight this particular document as well that I happen to have here, that I had hoped to have taken with me to Canberra, but didn't get a chance to, unfortunately. So I apologise I didn't do that, but I will second it and say that's a fabulous event. Well done.
Thank you. Any questions, debate? Councillor Wilkes, do you wish to close? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? All those against? Carried unanimously. Very good. Yes, the McLaren Vale Function Centre were extraordinary in their attention to detail and supporting delegates being there from all over the country. 9.7, Tree City of the World. Do we have a mover? No one's touching theirs until you do. Thank you, Councillor Fischer.
Thank you, Mayor. I love trees. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your speech. Do we have a seconder, Councillor Themeliotis?
Happy to second.
Would you like to speak to the motion? Councillor Platten.
I'll speak to it. I'd just like to congratulate this for moving forward. I hope everyone votes for it. It's free, so let's go for it.
Councillor Fischer, do you wish to add to your opening speech?
Thank you, Mayor. I mean, I wasn't trying to be flippant, but certainly I think this chamber has embraced the concept of a tree city. And as Councillor Platten has just identified, it doesn't cost us anything, but it's certainly the benefits of becoming known as a tree city of the world substantial. So thank you, and I urge you to vote for the motion.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour? All those against? Motion's carried unanimously, which will keep everyone happy and engaged. 9.8, the Urban Forest Target Program Review. And do I have a mover? Councillor Bell.
Yes, I'm just wondering,
do you have some questions?
I'd like to make an amendment and move it, if I may.
Yes, can. What change do you wish?
Well, I'd like to add, if I could, and I'm open to suggestions, but down the second half there where it says that council approves point 1 and point 2, I'd like to add a point 3, that we continue to approve and encourage private landholders So apologies, sir, I should have given this to you in advance. Continue to approve and encourage private landholders to plant and maintain appropriate tree species and there be no net loss of trees in our city. How does that sound? Any comments? Or would you like me to just see how we go?
What's here?
Okay.
Do you wish to speak to the motion?
Just to say that I think this is a significant piece of work and I thank the staff and former chambers and the commitment of former elected members and the current elected members for their commitment to this issue. Urban forest links into a number of issues, in particular dealing with the canopy, climate change, also improving the character and overall aesthetics of our city, a number of issues generally. And I think this goes a long way in highlighting the work that we've been doing also collaboratively with a number of stakeholders. And I just want to congratulate everyone for the work done so far. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Themeliotis.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Point 3, the end half of that, there'll be no net loss of trees in our city. How do we manage that? How do we police that? What does that mean?
Through the Mayor, I would say that we could have a goal along those lines, but it would be very hard because council obviously doesn't have the power to approve or not approve planting on private land per se. At the moment, the way it's monitored is through the data catches, and they do some calculations to work out net loss or growth or whatever it is. But maybe we could influence. I'd say we probably couldn't approve or control it.
I'm just going to go back to Councillor Bell, given that information. So that may be that's outside of our jurisdiction. So
Councillor Bell consider that it's a goal to.
Yeah, aim. Would you be willing to accept that?
And maybe not approve.
So to aim, that we aim to encourage private. Yeah, beautiful. Love that cooperation. Does that satisfy and meet all our legislative parameters? I'll just checking with the Director of Planning, who knows these things inside out, if we can just get her expertise. We'll just ask the officer to tell us what we want to say.
That we encourage private landowners. We don't need to aim to encourage.
We encourage, yeah.
And that there be a goal of no net loss.
Yep. So we our goal is to encourage private landowners.
That we encourage
private landowners
keep going
to plant and maintain appropriate tree species, and
that there be a goal,
and that there be a goal
of no net
loss trees in our city. Are you going there, Sue? So get rid of encourage. That's it. I'll just check.
Does that encourage private landowners? Yeah, sure.
Yep, that works. We're not breaking any rules and we are keeping within our parameters. Thank you, everyone, for your cooperation and support and practical assistance. You're satisfied with that, Councillor Bell? Councillor Fischer.
Yeah, I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Do you wish to speak?
Thank you.
Councillor Yeomans.
Just a question, please, on number 1.
Number 1, yes.
We're reading that we're approving the potential there for setting new targets and performance measures appropriate to the city, which is fine, but who gets to make that decision? And I'm concerned of any financial impact. Like, does the chamber have a say in that, or it's just going to be a staff thing?
Yeah, okay, great question. Thank you.
Through the Mayor, the process would be that Green Adelaide will recommend the measures or targets, which will then likely be incorporated into that greater regional Adelaide plan, and that will be a recommendation, but it still comes to the council to set the targets for our city.
Does that clarify? Councillor Themeliotis.
Okay, now I can debate a little bit.
Do you wish to a question? Or
Debate.
Okay,
Okay,
go ahead.
debate. Okay, elected members, I'm not going to support this motion. After all that, I'm not going to support this motion. I understand we're waiting for more information before we set our targets, but I think our community and the sentiment in our community is that we have the ability to set our targets and lead the way. The presiding member of Greening Adelaide, Chris Daniels, has said that it's a widely accepted target in urban areas should be around the 30%, and I think that's what we should strive to. I do understand that as a council, we only control 30% of the land holdings in our council area, but as an elected member, I'm actually responsible for 100% of our council area. If it was 30%, our budgets would be a hell of a lot better. But when I talk about increasing our tree canopy coverage, it shouldn't actually just be our tree canopy coverage. It should be the lower ground and the mid-ground greening of our city as well, which will promote better health and well-being of our city. And we've just said that we want to be, the previous motion that we just passed was around being a tree city. So I think this is the time now where we can actually set some standards and increase our tree canopy coverage. Let me just go back to that 30-70%, which isn't wrong. It's correct that 30% is what we control, but we are responsible for 100%. When I talk about trees and I talk about the planting of more trees on mid-ground or lower ground, I'm actually talking about the responsibility of our whole council area, not our chamber. I'm not talking about increasing our budgets. I'm talking about increasing the things that we're good at, and we're good at education. We're good at advocacy. We're good at engaging with our community. We are good at promotion. We are good at running events and encouraging others. We have commercial, we have residential, we have small businesses, we have education in our schools, and we know individual residents who would all partake in doing their bit and mapping out where they have planted their trees. So I'm really trying to sell this in a different sort of light, which is around our whole council area coming together to achieve a target and not just the responsibility. And it will never be just the responsibility of council to achieve greater tree canopy coverage in our city, or even middle or lower ground coverage in our city. So I think the way we're selling it isn't quite right, or the way this is looked at isn't quite right, and we should be looking at this a little bit differently. So elected members, I hope you would consider maybe not supporting this and setting a strong target, because I am a true believer that if you care about trees and you care about protecting trees and you want to increase trees in our city, the only way of doing that is having strong targets and strong policies that back it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Any further questions, debate? Councillor Bell, do you wish to close debate?
Thank you, Mayor. Just to say thanks for the staff that just took part in helping me word that. And again, congratulations for the council's leadership in this area. I think this is a really good advocacy piece. And, look, I'm a big advocate for planting trees, and anything we can do will help. And there's a number of things that we can add somewhere along the line, like the recent 1 tree per child and a number of other initiatives. And I think I actually believe that we'll end up with a bigger target than we're currently kind of setting at the moment, because I think there's a push within the community, but also for them to take charge, if you like, and plant more trees. So thank you.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? All those against? Motion's carried. Councillor Dew. Item 9.9. We do have an update here, I believe. Is that right? Yep.
Through you, Maria. Just late this afternoon, it's come to staff's attention there's been some social media activity around this item, which has probably comments on that could be considered misleading about the budget for the Australia Day breakfast in the coming year. And just to provide clear clarity to the chamber that the breakfast has been budgeted for in the budget, the 30,000.
Thank you. Councillor Dew.
I'd actually like to make an amendment.
Go ahead.
The council delivers or supports the delivery of one event across the city, contributing $10,000.
So have you given this to?
No, I've only just
okay
finalised it.
That's
I'm going to pass it to you.
Could you mind?
Yeah, no,
that would be helpful. Thank you. Do you have it in front of you as well?
No, that's okay. I can take it back one.
We'll just give this Sue a moment.
So I've suggested that we're allocating 30,000 rather than actually including. Yes, that's right.
Okay. Are we ready to go? Yes, let's not for profits. Thank you. Councillor Drew, I'll start the clock for you to.
I just want to change it, like just make sure it's correct, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Develop a strategy to support not-for-profits to identify ways to make the event self-sufficient, comma, if they choose to hold it independently from council from 26. Yeah. That's not quite right. Ways to make the event self-sufficient.
Yeah. Thank you. And just can I use this as an opportunity? If you do have amendments, please try and get them to us before the meeting so that we can make the best use of the time we've got together.
Can I just get remove if they choose to hold it independent and just have it make the event self-sufficient, full stop, independent from council from 2026 onwards?
Yeah, we'll start the clock and then you can explain yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Go ahead. Read it as you would like to have it read and then speak to it.
Okay, so Australia Day Breakfast, the council delivers one event across the city contributing $10,000 for 2025. Expression of interest, a call from local community organisations for 25. So community organisations to host the breakfast for 2025. Develop a strategy to support not-for-profits to identify ways to make the event self-sufficient, independent from council from 2026 onwards. Yeah.
You've got 2 minutes 44 to speak.
Oh, I thought you were telling me to fix it. Oh man. Okay. So my concern with this is that we just passed a budget not that long ago with many areas of our budget that we have had to tighten, including removing community grants that has a huge impact in our community. Whereas this event here is an opportunity for people to come together to have a barbecue. And I question whether or not that has a far-reaching impact. It's a one-off event where we have actually culled a grant process for 12 months that can deliver food to people that need it, provides opportunities over a period of time for people to come together to build social cohesion, and this is just one event. People have the opportunity to go to the family sort of bush fair of the, at the night time. We've been talking about fiscal responsibility, and I don't feel that $30,000 as proposed in the initial recommendation is actually fiscally fit. The breakfast currently some breakfasts currently take place without council funding, and that happens without any of our support. Local clubs within the report gain a profit of $2,000 to $6,000, and I can absolutely understand how that can be of benefit. What I find interesting is that when I've collaborated with council in the past, often community groups that are providing the barbecue are only provided about $350 to $800 reimbursement. So we're talking a lot larger amount than hosting this breakfast. I've tonight gone out and asked community what they think, and I apologise for misleading people. I understand that it was budgeted. However, my question was really around the community sentiment around this money being allocated. As of 7:20 p.m, 337 people had voted, and 81.5% didn't feel that $30,000 should be spent on this, and 18.4% of people were still in support. So yes, so I don't want to rush this decision because we haven't been creative. There's big business that could fund this event. We could discount it. We could provide on purchase of sausages. We could help communities apply for external funding. Why does it have to be us? And why is the $30,000 being spent on something that could definitely have a greater reach and greater impact in our local area?
Thanks, Councillor. Do we have a seconder for this motion? Councillor Bell.
Yes, Mayor, I'll second the motion.
Do you wish to speak to the motion?
Just to briefly say that I think it's something that we should at least consider and willing to test the chamber on that.
Any further questions? Councillor Themeliotis.
Yeah, I'm just going to start with a couple of questions. First question is, has there been any conversations with any of the groups that already hold the Australia Day breakfasts around next year's breakfast? Only because I know my club has already started some planning. So I just wanted to know if there's any discussions that have occurred with any of the groups.
Are you happy to take that?
Yeah. Through the mayor, not as yet. They know that the expression of interest process will come up next month. And then all plans start from October. So they're waiting for this to go through.
Perfect. And my next question would be, how do we decide where in the city, if it's one event, how do we make that decision? Or are we going to a workshop, or who makes that decision? Is it delegated to the CEO?
No, so I'm just trying to answer without putting any staff on. Perhaps the question is, how would we discern as a council where that location would be? Is that the question? So that may well be something to the mover, if they had a view around that. Perhaps you could share a thought on that.
I just think we discern over events and activities across our city all the time. So we would use a process of seeing where the expressions of interest come from. That would help guide us.
Thank you. And now I'll ask staff if they've got anything to add to that discernment process.
Thank you. Through the mayor, look, councillors, we'd probably need to give some due consideration to that. It wouldn't be fair for us to try to suggest this place on the spot, but we'd take that on notice, subject to where the decision might go on this topic.
Thank you. Any further questions? Any further debate? Councillor George, you wish to close debate?
Only that, yes, we did pass the budget only a couple of weeks ago, but unless we continue to have diligence and be critical, money will be assigned, which doesn't always meet community expectation. So whether or not it's $10,000 for one event or $10,000 across all the event, I think the question is, how much money would our community expect us paying towards an event like a breakfast on Australia Day?
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? All those against? The motion is lost. Councillor Fischer, that brings the existing motion, I believe, or not. Councillor Fischer, what are you moving?
Mayor, I would like to move the original motion with a slight amendment.
Yes, so sections 1.
So 1,
2B.
And 2B.
Yep.
And
is
some
that correct?
additional wordage after location. Yes. Is it up there? Yep.
Yeah. Is the additional wording in what's highlighted?
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, off you go.
Okay, so a 2003 survey was undertaken with consultation with the community, and there was overall sentiment indicated a desire for the council to continue to deliver the breakfasts. The breakfasts themselves received the strongest support overall of all events held on Australia Day. I support the motion. I'm moving the motion, and I seek your support in a seconder and the chamber
to endorse that recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Themeliotis.
Look, happy to second the motion. I think councillor she's really covered off on it, and I'm not sure if you mentioned, because I missed some part of that debate there. But if we go out to tender and we don't receive enough, then that money obviously goes back into the coffers for next year. And we do it with a number of other things like our forums. We have funding available for a central, southern and northern community forum. It's only the northern community forum that take up that offer. They're a working group and the others haven't worked out, but the funding's there and sort of ticks back into the budget if someone wants to pick it up. So happy to continue on. But I do think that if Councillor Dew wants to pursue this further, maybe there needs to be a broader discussion with the chamber in a, dare I say it, workshop. Let's talk it out a little bit further. Thank you.
Thank you for that very brave word that you used. Are there any further questions? Councillor Fischer, would you like to close debate?
No, thank you.
I knew you'd do that. Okay, I will put the motion. All those in favour? All those against? The motion's carried. Thank you, everyone. I now have to declare a conflict of interest for item 9.10, and it is just a general interest. So I am inviting the Deputy Mayor to come on down. So you're declaring general and I'm going to leave. Yeah, just because I can't resist the opportunity of
The moment has come. Item 9.10. I don't know how to use this, so you're just going to have to bear with me.
Councillor Bell.
Oh, there we go. Councillor Bell, are you moving the motion?
Thank you. Yes, Deputy Mayor, I am moving the motion, and I'd like to briefly speak and just say that I think this is an esteemed role that is highly regarded, and I, after especially having worked with the current mayor, since we were elected, and especially after being in Canberra with all the other local government members, it's obvious to me that she's highly regarded and seen as a strong leader, and I think it's also wonderful for us as the biggest council in South Australia to have us represented there. Thank you.
Councillor Fischer.
Thank you, Acting Deputy Mayor.
Just Deputy.
I'd like to second the motion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Eaton.
Yes, I'm certainly supportive of it. We are the largest council in the state, and having actually attended GAROC myself on 2 occasions back filling in when Merrin Thompson was running for state parliament, it is an important role and we should have a say there. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? And oh, sorry, I've got my learner plates on. Councillor Bell, would you like to? No. All those in favour? And that's carried unanimously.
There we go. I'm glad I was able to leave you in such safe hands. Okay, 9:11, and I think we have a. Oh, what have you? 9:11. We have Councillor Yeoman's a conflict of interest.
Yes, I have a form. Mayor, I just declare a conflict of interest, a material conflict of interest, even though the role doesn't attract a sitting fee, but it does provide an opportunity to claim travel. So I'll leave the room. Yep.
Thank you. I don't think it qualifies for that. But Councillor Drew, are you moving this month?
Yes, please.
Do you wish to speak to it?
Only that I think that the community and the council would have a fantastic elected member liaison in Councillor Yeomans, who's already begun getting as much information as he can to be informed to join this group, and I'm absolutely in support of this.
Thank you. Councillor Themeliotis.
Support Councillor Dew in supporting Councillor Yeoman in becoming the elected member.
Any questions, debate? All those in favour? Against? Thank you very much. Would someone like to go and find Councillor Yeomans? Thank you very much, Councillor Fischer. Item 9.12, which is the confidential items quarterly review. I move it, Councillor Themeliotis.
Happy to move.
And wish to speak? Councillor Platten.
I'm happy to second.
Any questions, debate? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you very much. Just to remind everyone, you do have to vote if you're here. The reporting schedule, Councillor Themeliotis. Thank you. Do you wish to speak? Councillor Eaton.
I'll second it. No, nothing to say.
Thank you so much. All those in favour? Against? The motion's carried. Now, the questions on notice are all in either in the minutes or in your agenda. Most are in the agenda. I'll just remind members that printed copies are also available in front of you in the yellow folders. We have our motions on notice next, 11.1. Councillor Themeliotis.
Thank you. I'd like to move this motion, which is requesting that a report come back to Council's December meeting outlining all of the efficiencies and opportunities currently being undertaken and considered by administration. So a couple of elected members have mentioned it already in this chamber around our budget, and really I want to take the opportunity to look over everything we're doing and see if there's more efficiencies we can find, see what council staff are finding, and see if that sort of opens up other conversations around the chamber. Really short debate here. Just for your interest, a couple of other things I'm interested in is our discretionary spending, maybe duplicate services and other services and programs that we provide as well. But I understand a lot of that information will come out in Councillor Yeoman's notice of motion and report to come to the next council meeting.
Thank you. Councillor Eaton.
Yeah, certainly I'm supportive of this. It does let us help to identify some efficiencies and where we might be able to reduce our own expenditure. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bell.
I'll see some questions for the staff, if I may.
Go ahead.
Please.
Let's see who wants to answer. What's your first question?
Well, with respect to Councillor Themeliotis, I'm just having some concerns with the motion at the moment. So I'm just wondering what extra work will this create for staff, given that we've been working on a plan and efficiencies for over a year and just passed a budget. That's the first question. Sorry.
I'll do my best to answer the question. Through the chair, we have a operational excellence team whose role it is to review the operations of the council and identify if there are any opportunities to reduce costs or improve efficiency. So we do have a business unit that does that work in cooperation with other teams. My teams have certainly been very active in that space. And we are trying to encourage that as a business as usual, as everyone looking at the services that their teams provide and identifying any efficiencies, or when a position is made vacant, do we need to fill that role? So we are doing it as a business as usual operation more and more.
Well, thank you. If I may ask a question of the CEO, are the efficiencies planned, if I may ask in advance, I wasn't at the last CEO meeting, is there a plan in your KPIs that will lead to this, dealing with this?
Yeah, through the Mayor, elected members, we certainly haven't waited for this notice of motion before we look at efficiencies. We've been well on that course in terms of developing the budget that has been adopted. For clarity, we should be clarified for community that are listening that in adopting the budget, we also built in efficiencies and savings targets within the budget to the tune of excess of $7 million. So that's enabled the council to get us back to a balanced position after 7 years. And it also forecasts for us to remain in that position moving forward. So it should be acknowledged really that it's been on both sides of the ledger, both revenue and expenses, that the council's endorsed where we have identified savings already, as well as revenue opportunities, obviously. Thank you.
Thanks for confirming that. If I may just very quickly say something else. A question or debate in terms of my debate? Go ahead. Yes, I just respectfully.
So I'm just checking though that this motion has not yet been seconded. So
hasn't it?
Oh, you did. Sorry, Councillor Eaton.
You seconded it.
You certainly did. Oh, my sincere apologies. Go ahead, Councillor Bell.
Yeah, just respectfully, it's not that I'm against what's being proposed, but maybe I'm against the wording. Given that, as our CEO just highlighted, and what we've experienced in over a year in working towards efficiencies, I'm not sure I understand the need for it, respectfully, and I'd like to see that maybe it incorporated in what we're already doing, and also taking into account that we do require more workshopping between us, and also events that will help the public be open and considered in making decisions in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dew.
There's a question or debate. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, I don't know, it's an opinion, really. Do we count, is a workshop versus a council meeting the best place to deliberate over this? Can anyone answer that?
And it's an excellent question, but could be put to almost any item. I'm really happy to seek advice if someone wants to offer a suggestion, response to that question.
Yeah, through the Mayor, councillors, I think as part of the ordinary budget setting process, there's always a natural process to go through in terms of how the council would like to set its budget, including services, just as we did in the last cycle around service levels. There is a live notice of motion from Councillor Yeomans that's due back in August, which has already asked for some specific details. I expect that when that information gets brought back to the chamber, there'll be an opportunity to have discussions around that, because that's already an existing request that's live in process at the moment.
Thank you. Any further questions, debate? And Councillor Yeomans.
Just a quick debate if I can.
Go ahead.
Look, I like this idea because I really appreciated the workshop that we went to on my birthday. It's a full day. There was a lot to pre-read. There was a lot to digest. And I think out of all of that, there were some really good outcomes. I would prefer now to reflect on that, to sort of think that it'd be good to have a bit of a budget process where you're actually working through these things during the year and coming up with some ideas and strategies, as opposed to the way that was done, albeit that was done appropriately. So I like this idea of just chipping away, having some reports coming up so we can all consider them strategically and take our time and think about these things and put something together. So I certainly support this and thank the council for putting it up.
Thank you. Councillor Wilkes, a question or debate?
I just want a little bit of debate, please.
Go ahead.
Sure. So I am supporting this motion. I love the fact that this can be laid out, the efficiencies and opportunities currently being explored can be laid out for the community. The budget was really harsh and it was hard, and still getting so many questions, especially about the green waste, but just lots of questions, lots of feedback, and it's only going to get worse leading into next week when the rates notices are delivered to people's letterboxes. So I think this is a great this will be a great report to be able to show our community that yes, we are looking at efficiency opportunities and we are working hard and staff is working hard and would actually probably like to see this on a regular basis, you know, if that's possible. But just, yeah, I think it's a really great thing to show our community that if we're going to put a hard budget out there, we're also going to have a good hard look at ourselves. So thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Fischer. Question?
Question, yeah, please.
Yes, go ahead.
Just I'll start. So just trying to sort of formulate or form this motion into reality. So the report coming back to council, that would include some sort of workshop. Is that what I've heard those words come out of Councillor Yeoman's mouth?
So your question is, would this
have a workshop
trigger a motion?
Yeah.
A workshop.
Yeah, a workshop or a session that we would have separate to a decision-making process.
So the way I'm reading this motion that's up there is that a report comes back. How that report gets formed may be something for administration to consider. Is that fair? Yes. I will ask Councillor Themeliotis if you'd like to close debate. There's no further questions.
Elected members, I should have been a lot more clearer in my debate. This is work that's already been done. It continues to be done. This is nothing new. It's again around what a couple of elected members have mentioned about being open and transparent with our community. And not only that, for me to feel really confident, I understand every element of quite a full packed budget. And I've got to say, sometimes I don't grasp every single element. There's a lot going on with the budget. And I want to get more involved in the budget. And the one day is sort of like everything's chucked at you and it feels like one hit. Where I feel like this would lead and a potential, the report coming subsequently that Councillor Yeomans is putting up, that's coming to the next council meeting, this might actually lead to when we have our budget workshops, there might be a segment or part of that budget workshop where this element is discussed and that element is discussed, but we are fully across it and we are aware of it before it hits us. So elected members, I hope that you would see fit that this comes through as a report and then what light comes out of that report might open up further discussions or a part of a budget workshop dedicated to it or, you know, from there. But I don't think it needs a standalone. It's just a part of a bigger picture, which is our budget.
Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? All those against? The motion's carried. And given that the motion's been carried, I just want to make a couple of comments. And that is that we do have quarterly budget reviews. We have a finance and audit committee. The KPIs are included in the CEO PMC. And we also have a director of finance, essentially. And I would hope that it's business as usual for efficiency opportunities to be explored. And maybe we can build something into our practices as a chamber that might support those processes more deeply. Councillor Eaton, 11.2.
Thank you. This particular, most of my debate is actually in my background of this, but just adding to it, what we're seeing is an increase across the whole of Australia in respect to knife crime, particularly with youth. We've been very fortunate in that we haven't had it yet at Communique or any place like that. However, it happened at 3 other shopping centres in the metropolitan area. I'm talking about the end of October, beginning of November in respect to having this workshop, and I'm suggesting it should occur on a Saturday or a Sunday. And what it does actually is it actually lines up with the 6th anniversary of the murder of a woman by a homeless person at Communique Shopping Centre. I'm certainly not saying crime is out of control in the city, in our particular area. What we are seeing, though, is a lot of reports of house fires and those sorts of things happening, domestic violence, alcohol abuse and those sorts of things, which I think that this workshop will give us that opportunity to consider all those issues. It will also involve members of Parliament, and it could certainly add to our advocacy plan. But I'm certainly one about safer communities and working with all our other agencies that we possibly can. I would also like to include in the groups to come along Healthy Cities Entrepreneur and the Entrepreneur Food Security Collaborative, as well as the Metropolitan Fire Service. They have an excellent public education program in respect to fire prevention in houses. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor. Councillor Themeliotis. A question?
I'll second the motion, and I'll talk really briefly. No surprise, this is not how I would have worded the motion. Look, I think what I'm hearing in my community, there is a lot of things happening around youth crime and around graffiti. And I think there is a lot of annoyance with some of our neighbours that are getting, tyres slashed and cars damaged along their streets, and they're sort of to an extent at their wits' end. So I think the real opportunity there would have been to bring together certain groups for residents to meet and have a conversation with, if it's someone from SAPOL or a local neighbourhood watch, and work on strategies in addressing that. I don't know if it's really council's place to be playing too much in this space. I think there's a role of as council as the connector, bringing people together in a room. This probably goes a step too far, but I sort of understand what Councillor Eaton is trying to do. Local MPs do it when they hold a crime forum, for example. So it does happen in our community. So I probably would have rather seen this reworked a little bit differently to achieve a far greater outcome. And I think that outcome is for residents and people in our community to understand what methods and support there are there for them if they see graffiti, if they see crime, if their tyres get slashed, if something happens around school holidays when things seem to pick up. I would have rather seen something along those lines. Maybe that would come out of this. So thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Debate? I'll put the motion. Oh, sorry, Councillor Eaton, would you like to speak? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? All those against? The motion's carried. Thank you, everyone. And now we have a notice of motion. Councillor June.
Go ahead. I just want to change the first one to seek sponsorship, so you can get rid of a campaign to sort.
To seek sponsorship.
Yep.
Thank you. Go ahead.
And you can get rid of our campaign as well. It can be just to seek. And then instead of August, probably a more realistic timeframe of October would be great.
Okay. In the last line. Yeah, there we go. October. Do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yeah, just briefly. This is obviously a commitment that we've all made in terms of looking for revenue opportunities. And these are two opportunities that have been identified that I think would be fantastic to get endorsement to ensure that we make sure it happens, and that council members are supporting it, but we also have oversight to ensure that it continues to be a priority. And these are just two ways that we could maybe start to generate some revenue.
Thank you. Councillor Pritchard, question or second?
I'd like to second the motion.
Do you wish to speak?
I think it's a fantastic idea. I'm really keen for us to get our major events sponsored to reduce the burden as other groups do it, especially things like the Christmas pageant. So I think we should be doing it as well.
Thank you. Councillor Platten, question or debate?
Thank you. Just a quick debate. Family support. I think we talk the talk, now it's time to walk the walk. We have some really amazing assets that are just begging us to put advertising on them. So yes, please, let's move forward with it.
Thank you. Councillor Themeliotis.
Yeah, just really brief comment/debate, but I hope that this could expand out to not just garbage trucks. I feel like there is a load of opportunities across our city. So if, when this feasibility study does come back, if it could potentially look at other opportunities, let your dreams go wild. Bus shelters.
We won't talk about bus shelters. Ruling that out of order. Okay, I'll put them. Councillor Judy, wish to close debate. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. Thank you. The petition tonight that we heard earlier from the Grants Gully Road, Clarendon Road Safety Community. Councillor Eaton.
Yes, certainly I support as written. We've had the Clarendon community actually present to us tonight, and it really is a big problem for that area. Thank you.
Thanks, councillor. Councillor Themeliotis.
Yeah, happy to second the motion. What I like about this is a couple of things. The community of Clarendon have seen an issue, they've got together, they've reached out to their local councillors, and I want to thank Councillor Vale, who's heavily involved in a couple of committees, separate committees that they held to look at this exact matter, and who headed this before it came to the ward councillors. So thank you, Councillor Bell. 3 accidents in a very short period of time. I've spent time out there, as well as Councillor Bell and Councillor Eaton, specifically around Anzac Day, where they held some night events, and I tried to run across the road while holding like a 10-kilo child, and that bend, like they can't see you, they couldn't see me, and they come around there very, very fast. So what I like about this is this committee have decided they're going to tackle every level, federal, state, council, get all their members on board, noting that this is an issue, and sort of get that groundswell of support. So I hope you will support this. This might formulate part of our advocacy plan. What I can let elected members know is, after that little incident of me running across the road and nearly getting run over, actually did an EM inquiry, and council staff had already started their advocacy back in April. So this has been flagged all over the place, and council staff are well on top of it. So I just want to do a special thanks to council staff, and a special thanks to Councillor Bell, who headed this before it came to the ward councillors. Thank you, Councillor Bell.
Thank you. Councillor Fischer.
I have a question without notice.
Go ahead.
In relation to the local wildlife, I understand the benefit along that section there is endangered species. So has anyone done anything from the council in respect to any advocacy there with groups? It's close though.
The species of kangaroo, they may well be migrating through Clarendon at some times of the year, but we might take that on notice, Councillor Fischer. All right. Yeah. Okay. Any further questions? Councillor Eaton, would you like to close debate? Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? The motion's carried. And thank you for speaking up on behalf of all those other species. That's terrific. Any urgent business? No urgent business. We'll now move into excluding the public. Do I have someone? Thank you, Councillor Platten.
I would love to move that.
Councillor Themeliotis. Second. All those in favour? Against? That motion's carried. And I'll just wait for everyone to leave who needs to go. You got a pen rather than a pencil. I'll just do the minutes while. And I'll just sign these while they're doing that. Thank you. Well, thank you.